forgotten magic still lingers in the very name. It speaks of duels in the snow and cold November mud.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Dennis Miller Show. What a thrill for me. When I was a kid growing up in Pittsburgh, trust me, I was a big Steeler fan. You know, Brady Keys, Gary Bowman, Billy Nelson. But we were bad, man. We were bad for years. So, you know, as a kid, you want to see it played right. And I would watch the Packers. I loved the whole bunch of them. Kostelnik, I even stuck with them after with Grabo, when Jimmy Grabowski, Donnie Anderson came in, the Roadrunner Travis Williams. But I loved those old Packers. And I was especially fond of the offense. And we had Fuzz on one side and the other guard. Can't believe I'm on with him. What a thrill for me. This is the great, and a great author too. That book was, you know, in a nice, amiable sort of way. It was like the Jimmy Bouton of football, except he didn't really get too nasty to it. But Instant Replay, I think it was called. But it was a great book. And this is Jerry Kramer. Jerry, what's up?
Hey, Dennis. How you doing?
What a thrill for me, man. I'm a big fan, brother.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And where are you living up in Green Bay still?
No, I'm in Idaho. I'm a tater tot, Dennis. I moved back to Idaho 4 or 5 years after I left Green Bay and been in that neighborhood ever since.
Wow, listen, I got a joint up in Sun Valley. Anywhere near there?
I'm in Boise, which is about a 2 hour or 2.5 hour drive from Sun Valley.
Yeah, well, that Boise State team's unbelievable, man. It must be fun. Do you ever get out and watch them?
Oh, I do, you know, and it is unbelievable. When I was playing college football, Boise State was a junior college. It was a 2-year college. So we wouldn't, at the University of Idaho, we wouldn't even think about playing them. Mm-hmm. And then later on, you know, they became a college, and they were the laugh of the state for quite a few years.
Right. Well,
and now, obviously, they're having a wonderful run.
You know, when I think back, and obviously there are some people who contend if you're going to build a great team in a pass-happy NFL right now, you have to start with an offensive line. But very infrequently does a guy get singled out in history pictorially. But Jerry, well, what a thrill that is. One of the greatest games ever played, to have you ISO'd, always put in a circle, always hitting Jethro Pugh exactly as he should be, hitting Bart sneaking in behind. It really is a gift from above, isn't it?
Yes, it's unbelievable. And again, for an offensive lineman, you know, the offensive lineman's dream is to never hear his name and never hear his opponent's name.
Yeah.
You go through a game playing a perfect game, nothing is ever said about you. So you kind of get used to not having any publicity, and you get used to the other guys doing the interviews and the whole thing. So when it does come along, it's such a rare treat, and this particular situation has lasted so long that it's you know, virtually a lineman's dream.
It'll last forever. I know that's hard for you, you know, to get your head around in a way, but imagine that. 200 years from now, they'll be playing that play, and here's Jerry taking his assignment and dealing with it. That is beautiful, baby. It gives me goosebumps.
It's incredible. It really is.
Now listen,
my whole run with the books and the whole thing has just been an incredible ride. I've got no complaints.
Yeah, but when I sent you as your freest, man, and I used to watch when Noel came in, took over the Steelers, he would always pull Bruce Van Dyke and Sammy Davis, and they would rock on that line and turn it up, and they were like unleashed Appaloosas. And I think of you and Fuzzy pulling, man. That must have been fun to get out there looking for a corner willing to come up for a little taste. Right?
Well, after you've been wailing on somebody 290 to 300 or something like that for a half hour, to get out and wail on a 190-pound or 175-pound corner, well, that was like having candy, you know. That was just, please, let me do more of this.
Yeah, like Lem Barney, or I'm trying to think of guys from the Norris division coming up. You got Ursel McBee and cats like that. Come on, Ursel, you really want a piece of this, baby? Let's go.
Yeah, come on, let's go. Strap it on and let's get it on.
We're talking to the great Jerry Kramer, and he wanted the Immortal Pack. I went in and saw the show on Broadway. I'm such a big fan. I was wondering if you got in and saw Dan playing Lombardi.
Yes, I did.
I loved it. Did you?
I really enjoyed it. I sat there with really mixed emotions. I thought Dan was doing a wonderful job as Lombardi, but I kept seeing the real Lombardi.
Yeah.
I thought Judah did a beautiful job playing Mrs. Lombardi.
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite as tangled up about her. I just thought she was sensational. But I enjoyed the whole show. And Dan came, was a couple rows off the stage, and he came over for his final line, which was, and we got a long way to go. And he gets about 3 feet from me and points at my eye and says, and we got a long way to go. So it was a real thrill to see the show, and it was a thrill to have my coach on Broadway in a show like that. So we did the whole thing and just had a sensational time. We stayed at the Waldorf and took the limo and went to the party afterwards, and all the kind of things Horning and Taylor and Starr would do, I got to do.
Oh, that's exciting. Jerry Kramer with us, and by the way, Jerry twits, believe it. Did I ever think that I'd live in a world where Lombardi's guard would be on Twitter or whatever the hell? If you woke Lombardi up now and told him about Twitter, get the hell out of here with that.
What the hell's going on out there?
I want a seal here. I want a seal here. I want Taylor to hit it. Jimmy Taylor, was he beautiful the year he got 1,400, man? He was the smallest fullback ever.
You know, he was such a package and so well built. He was way ahead of his time in terms of weightlifting and conditioning. And he would turn around that corner, and the safety would be cutting him off at the sideline, and he would turn and head for the safety. And Lombardi would run the plays back. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? And Taylor would say, you got to sting him, coach. You got to sting him. Sting him a little bit. Make him respect you. I want you to run for the goal line. Don't run into those people. Run for the goal line.
I love that, man. I remember I used to watch those old Viking games with the Packers, and the Vikes had Billy Brown, who was akin to Jimmy Taylor, but not quite Jimmy Taylor, and Tommy Mason. It was akin to Horning, but not quite Horning. But man, that was some football there. By the way, Jerry Twitters at Jerry Kramer 64GB. That is number Jerry Kramer 64GB. He's also got a website, JerryKramer.com. And whenever I go up during Monday Night Football to do the Packers games, the Hall of Fame was in pretty good shape. You help preserve the legacy of the Pack up there, right?
Absolutely. Spent a lot of time with the alumni, Dennis. I remember you coming into town one time, and the guys were talking about going around Lambeau and walking around the stadium and what a thrill it would be. And you said something like, hell, I don't care about Lambeau. I want to go to Fuzzy Thurston's bar.
Well, I always dug Frederick Charles Thurston. He was sort of the Gump Worsley of the NFL in my book. Fuzzy Thurston, and but I did go down and stand on the spot, baby. Trust me, I was down there on the spot. I said I want to see the spot, and it's funny, Jared. That's how famous that is. That's all I had to say to the kid who was shepherding me into Lambeau. I said I want to go to the spot, and he took me right there, man. I felt like I was in the Tigris and Euphrates. A member of the NFL's 50th anniversary all-time team. Folks, that's one thing I glimpsed when I was in there for 2 years. There's a lot, you hear about a lot of the jerks in this league, but 99% of them, solid, working-class heroes who bring it and strive to do great, and sometimes it leads to immortality. All the great men who have passed through that league, to think that Jerry, 50th anniversary all-time team, baby, that must boggle your mind, huh? I mean, for a kid starting out, it's just a beautiful feeling, right, Jer?
You know, Dennis, we started my first season 1-10-1 and had the worst record in the history of the Packer franchise. And I was tickled to death to be there. I was a kid out of Sandpoint, Idaho, got to go to the big dance, got to travel, got to be a professional football player, and had a wonderful time. And the following year, Coach Lombardi arrived and changed our world and changed everything about us. And we were on a very steep ascent in professional football at that time. And it just kept getting better and better and better. And we went to a championship in 60, we won in 61, 62, 65, won Super Bowl 1 and 2 in 66, 67, and the 3 in a row, and it just kept getting better and better and better. And I I'm telling you, it was a dream. I couldn't have been more fortunate to play with that team and that coach and that time. I wouldn't trade him for anything.
No. And by the way, just one last question. Inside football, who clocked Freddie the Hammer Williamson that day and knocked him out of his mind? Who clocked him?
You know, I wish I could take credit for that because I would have loved to have said that with his big mouth. But he came up and hit Donnie Anderson's knee, and he knocked himself goofy, which is classic, I guess.
Beautiful.
The way it should be.
Well, baby, you did it the way it should be, and that memory, I'm telling you, Jerry, there's something very cool about all the running plays in the history of that league. The most famous one, the one they'll replay forever, for all of time. You, ISO, knocking a guy out and winning the big game. That is unbelievable. Good for you, baby. I'm happy for you.
Thank you, Dennis. Great to be with you.
All right, we'll talk at you down the road. The great Jerry Kramer. I got goosebumps. Back after this, Dennis Miller.